3 of SEC Media Days, and 4 more teams come into Tampa on the biggest stage. This is your Media Days Craze. I'm Atlanta News First Sports Director Bailey Burmaster. Thanks for joining us. These teams may be on different paths, but they all face the same pressure. Some are looking to prove they belong at the top. Others are beginning a rebuild. Some are trying to continue what they started, and others are focused on sustaining their success. Day 3 of SEC Media Days starts now. Let's get started with our first team. 11 wins in a season would usually mean success for a lot of programs, but not for Alabama. It raises a few questions. They head into year 3 under Kalen DeBoer, and they'll be pushing to get higher success this upcoming season. 2025 was a weird year for Alabama. The Tide finished 11-4, but ended poorly with a blowout loss to Indiana in the Rose Bowl, the team that won it all, which really makes year 3 a make-or-break season for DeBoer. And if he's able to show that Nick Saban standard is still alive, he's going to have to do it with a new quarterback. Austin Mack and Kalen Russell will compete for the starting job following the departure of Ty Simpson. But questions lure around the offensive line. That's a group that struggled in the second half of 2025. The jury's still out on whether or not the Tide will be able to dominate in the trenches. Let's get the latest on the Tide.
It is now year 3 for Kalen DeBoer as the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Tide making it to the college football playoff last year, winning a road game at Oklahoma before losing to eventual national champion Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Now that season was good enough to earn DeBoer a contract extension through the 2033 season. Now, even with that extension, DeBoer seems to understand that just making it to the quarterfinal isn't the standard in Tuscaloosa.
There's an expectation that is different at Alabama, and we signed up for that. We're all about that, and we want to continue to push to make sure that we reach the expectations that we have, first of all, internally, and I think that will help everyone else that is the diehards and our fan base appreciate what these guys are doing, the work they're putting in.
Alabama appears to be flying under the radar entering the new season. A big reason why is the question mark at quarterback. It's a true competition to replace Ty Simpson between veteran Austin Mack, who came to Alabama with DeBoer from Washington, and the highly thought of sophomore Kalen Russell. 2
guys that we have a lot of confidence in. They both have a lot of similarities. I think probably when you look at their effectiveness as a passer, I think things that they don't have are just the number of reps in game experiences, and so there's a lot of things that are similar about them.
2 amazing guys on and off the field, and you know they do have different skill sets. They provide different strengths to the offense. You know, Mac, he's not going to make a wrong decision, and Keelan's lightning in a bottle, so he really can't go wrong. And I love being around those guys, and I'm thankful to call those guys my teammates.
Either quarterback will hope to rely on Ryan Coleman Williams as a top target. The junior wide receiver faced some adversity last season after a massive freshman year. He has a new number this season, a new last name, and has been working hard to make this his best season yet.
Honestly, you know, just going into this year, my main focus is, you know, just trying to be a consistent guy day in and day out. And, you know, with the work that I put in, you know, obviously the results will show for themselves. So really just being the best version of myself day in and day out for my squad.
Him being able to stay strong, continue to focus on what he needs to improve on, but what he can control is just so impressive. You know, he's put on some weight, and I think that's helped, you know, in a lot of different ways. I think it helps with your confidence, helps with your, you know, your ability to move, your ability to, I think it's going to help with his ability out there in the field from a physicality standpoint too.
Alabama's season begins Labor Day weekend with a home game against East Carolina. Reporting from SEC Media Days, I'm Jonathan Hoppy with WBRC.
The road back to the top won't be easy for Bama. The month of October features a brutal 4-game stretch. Georgia at home, at Tennessee, Texas A&M in Tuscaloosa, and LSU on the road. If the Crimson Tide can navigate that gauntlet, they'll be in the thick of the college football playoff race. Let's get close to our second team. There's a new era in Gainesville. John Summerall takes over for the Gators, looking to revamp the culture and bring Florida back into the SEC conversation. But how quickly can this program turn things around? Welcome back into your Media Days Craze. A new era is underway in Gainesville, and the question on everyone's mind is, can Jon Sumrall take over and make Florida a factor once again in the SEC? It's a new coach, new quarterback, and new era. Gone is Billy Napier. Enter Sumrall, who took Tulane to the playoff in just 2 years, and will now try to do the same in the SEC. With DJ Lagway's departure, it's also an open competition at quarterback. However, Aaron Philo seems to have a leg up following his offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, from Georgia Tech. Florida has the chance to be one of the most improved teams in the country, but again holds one of the toughest schedules, having to face Ole Miss, Oklahoma, plus Texas on the road, and Georgia this year in Atlanta, which could be a de facto home game for the Dogs. Let's tap in with Gainesville.
It's no question something needed to change for the Gator defense that came in ranked third worst in the SEC last season, giving up over 376 yards a game. But enter new defensive coordinator Brad White, that Jon Sumrall calls one of the best defensive minds in the game. White joining the Gators from Kentucky, where his defense ranked third nationally in fourth down defense and 20th in run defense. Losing guys like Caleb Banks, George Gumbs Jr., and Tyreek Sapp to the NFL draft, but the key stayed for the DC with a linebacker coaching background, a room led by one of the game's best in Miles Graham. Brad White, new incoming defensive coordinator, what has your impressions been so far?
Yeah, I love Coach White and the energy he brings every single day. Just him just doing everything he can to make sure we're the best defense that we can be. Honestly, he's very big on violence, aggression, physicality, and running to the ball and effort. So we're excited to show that.
What are you most excited to showcase with this new defensive scheme this season?
I just think I'm really other than the scheme, really the players, the great players that I have right to the right of me, behind me, in front of me. We got depth, and we're very talented.
Gators fans can look forward to a very adaptable 3-4 defense under White. 4 linebacker type looks with a jackbacker essentially used as a defensive end, a role that returner Jaden Woods is more than prepared for.
Don't get it twisted, the Gators will be tested quickly, with Ole Miss coming to Gainesville in September. Florida faces a tough finish with road trips to Texas and Florida State, plus a home game versus Oklahoma, a schedule that will reveal just how quickly Sumrall can revive the Gators.
All right, let's be honest here. Picking just 5 games to watch at the SEC is like picking your favorite child. But we're going to go ahead and try our best with it, and no better place to start than Week 3 in Oxford, Mississippi. After a bitter divorce at the end of last season, Lane Kiffin makes his much anticipated return to Ole Miss, but this time as head coach of LSU. The storylines do not get any better. Let's just hope there aren't any more water bottles or golf balls thrown on the field like there were back in 2021. When he came back to Tennessee. Week 6 gives us not 1 but 2 monster matchups, beginning with Georgia's first true road test of the season against Alabama. It's a matchup that's given us some of the best games with the biggest postseason implications over the years, and now a revenge spot for the Dogs after Bama ended Georgia's 33 home game win streak last year in Athens. Yes, UGA might be the better team on paper, but the Dogs also have not won in Tuscaloosa since 2007. And on the very same day, it's the Red River rivalry, because if UGA is the favorite to win the SEC, Texas and Oklahoma are right in line behind them. And this year could carry even more weight with who gets to the SEC championship in the first year of the 9-game conference schedule. The Longhorns have won 3 of the last 4 matchups in Dallas, and both these teams expect to be in the playoff again this year. Jumping ahead to Week 10, and the first Saturday in November is one of the biggest rematches of the year, with Georgia taking on Ole Miss for the first time since the Rebels' upset win in last year's playoff quarterfinal. That was just Pete Golding's second game as head coach, but now this is totally Golding's group. And with both these teams returning their quarterbacks plus other big stars, we can expect another classic this time around between a couple SEC contenders. Last but not least, they say Death Valley is one of the toughest places to play. The Texas Longhorns are going to find out just how tough it is. And for the first time since 1953, when they take on LSU on November 14th in Baton Rouge, the Horns certainly expect to win the SEC and be in the college football playoff. What LSU will be remains to be seen, with Lane Kiffin bringing in close to 40 transfers, but all signs pointing to this being a late season classic and a homecoming for Horns quarterback Arch Manning. All roads lead to Atlanta and the 2026 SEC Championship on December 5th, and another incredible year of SEC football is almost here. In the studio, I'm Connor Hines.
Ahead on Media Days Craze, from one new head coach to the next. The situations couldn't be more different, though, between these two. Pete Golding takes over a playoff contender at Ole Miss, looking to keep the Rebels amongst the SEC's best. Welcome back into your Media Days Craze. I'm Bailey Burmaster. Ole Miss is another team that has a new head coach, but it is a familiar face. Pete Golding stepped in with the departure of Lane Kiffin to LSU during their playoff run in 2025. However, the expectations in Oxford have not changed. While this is technically Golding's first year as head coach, it doesn't really feel like it after he took over for Lane Kiffin and led Ole Miss to an upset win over Georgia in the college football playoff. He had this team believing if it's possible for expectations to be high with a new head coach, I guess it's possible in Oxford. Quarterback Trinidad Chambliss was granted an exemption and returns, along with lead back Kewan Lacey Jr. While Golding served as DC from 2023 to 2025, he promoted Brian Brown to that role. And then there's one of the most anticipated games of the season for this team, September 19th versus LSU and their former head coach Lane Kiffin. Don't be fooled, the Rebs will be a contender for the SEC crown this season. Let's get the latest on the Rebs.
The Ole Miss Rebels are coming off their best season in school history. 13 wins, a college football playoff semifinal, and a run that captivated the entire SEC and college football world. Now, Pete Golding, who took over at the end of last season and won back-to-back playoff games in his first 2 games as a head coach, is trying to prove it wasn't a fluke. And today in Tampa, he made his case.
I think every team is responsible for their own legacy. And you know, and to me, and our guys will be the first one to tell you, like in recruiting, like, if you're not tough and you're not competitive and you don't love football, like Ole Miss ain't for you. We're going to get after you every day. There's going to be an expectation to be at your best every day. And so that's what I kind of love about this group. Like, they want to get coached hard.
For the new look Rebels in 2026, you have to start with the core that is back, which includes that dynamic duo in the backfield in quarterback Trinidad Chambliss and running back Kewan Lacey, who combined for 54 touchdowns last season.
We're not putting expectations based on a win column or a championship or like that. To me, that's a mentality of, you know, how you go about your business and what you're expecting them to do on a daily basis and what they have to put in order to get out what they want.
To a storyline that stole the headlines this offseason, Chambliss' return, which was not guaranteed. The NCAA denied his 6-year waiver back in January, and it took a state court ruling, one that found the NCAA had acted in bad faith, plus a denied NCAA appeal in March before he was finally cleared to play. He returns off of a season with nearly 4,000 total yards and 30 total touchdowns, good for 8th in Heisman voting.
I feel like, you know, whatever the case or whatever the decision was going to be, you know, God willing, I was going to play football regardless, whether it was in the NFL or, you know, in college back at Ole Miss. And I guess the lowest point in the times where I was down the most is just the uncertainty of it. Didn't know where I was going to be. I just wanted to kind of know where I was going to go and where I was going to be so I can, you know, I guess put my best foot forward and most of my effort into that time.
Golding's also leaning on one of the top transfer classes in the country, which ranked number 2 nationally, to reload a roster that lost some key pieces to the portal. That includes several who followed Lane Kiffin to LSU, and that's a storyline hanging over everything here in Tampa. September 19th, when Kiffin brings LSU to Oxford for the SEC opener, his first game back in the building since he left the Rebels before last year's playoff run, and Golding didn't shy away from it when asked.
There's always going to be history. It's the ex, right? I mean, there's always going to be the history. Like, do you have an ex? Are you married? Okay, all right. Well, if you do get married, right, and you have an ex that your wife knows about, like, she doesn't ever end. She's never dead, right? Like, she's always going to get brought up. And so that's kind of it's where it is right now, right? That's always going to be there a little bit, which is fun to a certain degree. But, you know, the thing about this league, as y'all know, like, your focus better be on LSU. It better be on LSU week 3. Right? And if your focus isn't on a Kentucky at home and you lose the game and go to the playoffs, your focus isn't on a Florida on the road, right? When you're number 5 in the country and you lose it to the playoffs, like, you got to put your focus week in and week out in this league, which is what I love about this league. But LSU will get our undivided attention in week 3, and they'll deserve every bit of it.
For the Rebels, the bar has shifted. It's no longer about surprising anyone. It's about proving last year was not a one-time thing and finishing the job in 2026. Reporting in Tampa, I'm Nathan Lee, WLBT Sports.
Ole Miss has a schedule built for a contender. The Rebels get LSU at home to start SEC play, travel to Texas, and finish with November test against Georgia and Oklahoma. Plenty of opportunities for Golding to prove this program is still among the SEC's best. Our final team on the podium is a team that proved last season was a breakthrough. Texas A&M has to prove it just wasn't a one-time run now. Mike Elko returns with the Aggies looking to build on their first college football playoff appearance. Welcome back one final time into your Media Days Craze as we finish up day 3 of SEC Media Days. Texas A&M found a breakthrough season last year in 2025, but now the hard part comes. They must keep it going. So close but so far was the theme for the Aggies in 2025. A win over Texas would have put them in the SEC title game, and then blew a halftime lead at home in the playoff and lost to Miami. Still, the breakthrough season for the Aggies was very relevant, winning 11 regular season games for the first time since 1994. Fast forward to this year, and Mario Craver Jr. is the name to watch. He should be the top option for QB Marcel Reed. The schedule is tougher with road trips to LSU, Bama, and Oklahoma. However, Elko gets the most out of his teams, and A&M should be a playoff contender again if all falls into place. Let's visit with College Station.
Texas A&M is coming off a historic 11-2 season, their first 11-win season since 1992. But one of the big storylines here at SEC Media Days is who exactly Mike Elko brought to Media Days. They brought quarterback Marcel Reed, which seems normal, but it's the first time Texas A&M has brought a quarterback to Media Days in the summer since 2019 with Kellen Mond.
It means a lot. Whenever you're a coach, picks you to do something to represent the team and yourself, I think it's really important. And I'm also, representing my family, my faith. Without God, I wouldn't be here at all. So, just happy to be in this position for sure.
He's established himself not only as our quarterback, but as the leader of our program, and received more votes for captain this year than anybody else on our roster. And so I think he's earned the right to be here.
I think I'm one of the top SEC quarterbacks. And I think I'm one of the top quarterbacks in the country as well.
I like a quarterback that has confidence. He's been really good taking control of the offense this year. This spring has been really good. But I like a quarterback that got confidence. Bringing that to the season is going to help me too.
They also brought captain linebacker Damian Sanford, who his playing status is still up in the air. Mike Elko would not give a timetable on his return after Sanford was injured and exited the spring game early.
The first thing I thought was, am I going to be out for the season?
When do you, anticipate being able to play again?
Soon. I just, keep working every day. I'm going to be back soon, though.
How excited are you to eventually get back out there and get this thing rolling again?
I'm really excited. A lot of our teammates they're hungry. We got a chip on our shoulder. We got a lot to prove. So yeah, I'm excited.
You kind of are now the voice of that linebacker room and really the voice of this defense. How much did you learn from Torian York last year? And then I know you kind of have your own style, but what is it like stepping into that role?
I learned a lot from him, actually. We came in together, so just watching him, how he leads and how he approaches the game, it was fun, learning from him. His preparation in the game is unmatched. He prepares like no other. He leads like no other, and he was kind of the standard. But he was the standard of Texas A&M. So trying to follow his footsteps would be good.
You guys got a taste of the playoff last year. So what does that take to get to that level?
I'll say consistency and turnover margin. I'm gonna talk about that today a lot. Just winning turnover. That's our number one plan to win, turnovers. So winning turnover margin and being consistent throughout the year, I feel like we'll have good chance.
The Aggies are looking to double down on their success from last year, this year with a 9-game SEC conference schedule. And it all starts September 5th against Missouri State. Reporting from SEC Media Days, Tyler Shaw.
The Aggies aren't hiding from the challenge. Texas A&M gets Arizona State early, travels to LSU, and closes with a stretch that includes road tests at Alabama, South Carolina, and Oklahoma. Then comes the Lone Stars showdown, a chance for the Aggies to redeem themselves after last year's loss against Texas. We are not done yet in Tampa. We still have one final day of SEC Media Days, which features 4 programs ready to make their case. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Texas, and LSU, which should pack a punch as Lane Kiffin makes his appearance as the head coach in his first year leading the Tigers. You won't want to miss a minute of the action. We will bring you all the storylines in the final day here in Tampa. That will do it for day 3 of your SEC Media Days. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great night.